everybody. Excited about the season, getting ready to start. Man, it seems like it's a long time. Everybody was back in last Monday. Seems like it's a long time getting prepared, but we'll certainly be ready to go tomorrow morning. Kids aren't all back yet. They will be by 3:15 today. So excited to get going. Like our schedule, what we have a lot of opportunity in that schedule, and like our leadership on the team. So excited about it, guys. So I'll take questions whenever you're ready.
Yeah. 6:20 that first day. Is there a reason you decided to go a little bit earlier? Because everything else is about 9:15.
Yes, because school's still in, and so it wouldn't affect. And I really didn't want to go in the afternoon and then come back the next in the morning, and I didn't want to go afternoon, and change it. So simple answer is because it would affect us if we went later school-wise, so we had to go early.
Any personnel updates since SEC Media Day?
No, I don't think so. You know, we talked about CC. Other than that, we should have everybody out there. So, no change since Media Day.
Coach, I know you hit on this a little bit at Media Day, but talk a little bit more about Antonio Jordan, what your expectations are for him.
A lot of talent. You know, he can run. He's ran well over 20 in his GPS. Can catch the ball, can go up and get the ball. You know, we saw that out of high school. So as young guys, you wonder why they can't play. Well, a lot of reasons is because of size. A lot of it they're not quite fast enough. They don't learn the playbook fast enough. With the new rules, we were able to certainly get him in and get him caught up as much as you can without actually doing it on the playbook. So there's really no deficiency there that would not allow him to play. Now he's got some guys he's got to beat out, obviously, but we think he's very capable, and I think he's going to be an exceptional. I don't want to put pressure on him young, but I think he's going to be an exceptional talent.
You feel pretty good about your depth. I mean, I know you're concerned about finding the best 22 to run out there to start. I get that, but do you feel pretty good about depth at most positions right now?
I really do. You know, again, I think there's a difference in what the public may know, what y'all may know at times, you know, and what we know. And so I really do like our depth. You know, who's going to run out there with the ones? I think that's good competition right now. You know, obviously, you know, Taylor Green, there's some guys, Carmona, you know, but there's several guys like that. But there's also several guys in great competition, which I'm not for sure if we've had all the time in the past. So I think it's a good thing. I think we have more depth than we've had since I've been here. And therefore, when you have more depth, you have more competition. So I really like this team. I like the talent. I like the speed. For one of the few times we've got a big football team at every position. We're big. And certainly to survive in this league, you have to have some stature, some size to you.
So we're going to hear from Ben in a minute, but what's the feedback you've gotten in terms of strength gains and speed gains from the summer?
I'll let Ben talk about most of that, but what I liked about the summer program is the cohesiveness of the guys. I know there was one day in there where our players' lounge wasn't what we want it to be. We want to look like it's brand new every day, and the kids took it on themselves to discipline, and they did, and I thought that was a step in the right direction with the team leadership. But we had full attendance. Obviously now it's mandatory, but we had full attendance, no holdouts, none of that stuff. And the guys, you know, they got a break a little bit with the weather, you know, until just recently. But they got a break with the weather. They were allowed, you know, obviously working out in the afternoon and in the mornings, depending on what group you're in. But I think what Ben will tell you is that he likes the feel of the team, and and that we're working together well. They went and did different things, bowling and all that kind of stuff on, after workouts, not instead of workouts. But we gained a lot of weight. We're faster than we have been. Taylor Green looks great. The guys that need to lose weight have, guys that need to gain have. And so we've had a really good summer.
You added some guys after spring at cornerback and safety, and I'm wondering how you feel about the depth at those positions. You referenced it a little bit at SEC Media Days about being able to stand up at corner, but I'm wondering at safety as well.
Safety, there's some battles going on. Obviously, we've got Miguel Mitchell, Larry Worth. Those are two guys they'll certainly run out there with the ones when we like the addition of Caleb Wooden. I think he can play. He could play hog, boundary, or free, or strong safety. The hog position is the one there that we think we've got really good talent, but that's going to be wait and see on who's going to be the starter there with that competition that we talked about with Jordan Young and Shakir Smalls. That's who we have set right there on our depth chart. So I feel really good about 5 of those guys, and as far as the battles go for those 3 positions, and then Akari would be another guy that certainly will hit you, and he'll play a lot of special teams. We'll see where he ends up in that battle.
Do you expect to have the right side of your offensive line sorted out by the end of camp, or is it something you want to tinker with, the first couple weeks of the season too?
You must be a coach's key. It's a good question. Well, you want to. When you decide to move somebody or up, back, whatever, you need to be right, and you need for them to understand why. They watch the same tape that we do. So if that surfaces, then that's certainly what we'll do. If not, then we won't. If we don't have a definite guy that's above somebody else, and then we have 2 really good players, we're going to find a way to play them both. But I've always been a guy kind of wanted to play 5 guys, 6 guys. There was a reason why they're 1. But if we don't have that figured out, then we'll play 6 or 7 guys probably.
And then with CC out, just how do you feel about the rest of that group at that Z receiver spot?
Where's that at?
Oh, at Z receiver with CC out, how do you feel about the rest of the group?
Well, I feel good about them. We've got speed. We've got the Browns, Jalen and CJ. Andy Jean's another guy. We were talking about possibly moving one of those guys in to slide a little bit to get them on the field a little bit more. But I feel really good about our size there and especially our speed there.
Sam, I was going to ask you about the wide receivers as well. I heard Coach Souders do an interview a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned the summer captains, and I didn't hear him mention any of the wide receivers in that group. I'm curious, who in that group has stepped up as a kind of in a leadership role there?
They all work really hard. So when you talk about leaders, you're talking about example by work ethic. They all work really hard. I would think Raylan Sharp would be the first name that would come off of my mind as far as a guy that is a little more vocal. They all work hard. Like I said, Mega Blake would be another guy like that. C.J. Brown, Monte Harrison. If you ask the guys in the room, they probably would say Monte Harrison would be their guy, their leader. The guy does by example as well. But right off the top of my head, those would be the 4 guys that I would think would be in line of what you would say the leader. But I think we're going to be more of leaders than just like an Andrew Armstrong or a Tesla a year ago.
Another wide receiver, I want to get your specific thoughts on Jalen Brown. I mean, you brought him up on the radio this morning. Just what about him stands out to you?
Speed. I called him in and I had a nice talk with him. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing it. What's going to be the difference between LSU and Florida State and Arkansas? What's going to be the difference? And we all have to look in the mirror and figure out, how we can do things better. And not say how can somebody else do something better. It's us, it's me as far as running the program. and I had a really good talk with him. I think he's in the right frame of mind to excel as what he was recruited out of high school. Of course, he was really highly recruited and highly regarded in high school, and it's time for him to be that guy and better. And I just believe he will. He's got a good work ethic. He can catch the ball, and he can fly. He can run.
Of course, you have Story and Diggs at linebacker. How are you feeling about the depth behind those two?
I like him. Bradshaw. Bradshaw, he's going to be right in the middle of, trying to figure out if he's a one or not. I like him. Waylon, Waylon made a lot of tackles, and then fortunately for us, but with the coach and all that, and I believe it was Kent State. I like those guys, and it's time for Wyatt Simmons to do something. He's last year he was a freshman and was had some hamstring issues and all that. He's a big 240-some pound guy that can run. We like him, and it's time for him to get going, and he will. And Tavion Wallace would be the other guy, I think, in there. But I think if you look at older guys that's played, you mentioned the first two, and then obviously Bradshaw and Waylon.
The last time we talked to you at SEC Media Days was about a week after CC had that surgery. You said it would probably shut him down. Just with more time since then, have you gotten a clear timeline on what his return looks like?
He as of right now, he won't play this year.
Okay. And then also just in terms of executing what you want to this weekend, what would have to happen for it to be a good start to camp, the one that you want?
Well, we have to know where we're going, what we're doing. We have to make sure that we're giving high effort, which none of those things I'm concerned about. I mean, you've got a veteran quarterback, you got leaders all over the place. We've got leaders in the whiteout group. We just got to find out who's going to be vocal. They're going to lead by example. But in every place we have the leadership, I want to see it come out. I want to when it gets tough in practice, I want us to be better, not worse. I want us to be better. And I want to execute on both sides of the ball. And then if you're doing that, obviously you know what you're doing. We can find out who can go out and win games for us. So that's just basically it. I want to fly around. I want to enjoy playing the game of football, and I want to see great competition so we can figure out exactly who we can win games with.
The front four for defense. Obviously, Cam Ball comes back, but curious who else on that defensive line has stood out trying to replace Anton Gunkaj and Landon Jackson, as well as some of the interior guys who are gone.
Yeah, I've said it before. Danny Sully had a really good spring, so and Griffard. I really like what those guys have been able to do. David Oakey is another guy that's very, very talented that had a hamstring the first half of spring, so it set him back a little bit. If you go out on the edge, Quincy Rhodes, nobody's going to look better than Quincy Rhodes. He just hasn't had the opportunity quite as much to play. He can run. He's got physical ability. We just got to turn him loose, see what he can do out there. And then I really like the addition of Phillip Lee to play defense, but also to rush the passer. Besides Danny, the most improved guy in there was Justin Boone, and Justin's big, so we go to our 3-down package. You're looking at him and Quincy probably, have an opportunity to play that 4-eye in that mint. Charlie Collins is now around 250 pounds, and that's the only reason. What has he been, 248 or something like that? And that's the only reason that he wasn't getting more reps last year, because you're looking at 220 and 225. And then Ken Talley's the other guy I probably should talk about, because he has rushing the passer ability too. So we'll see how many of those guys can convert and move inside the 4 eyes when we go into our 3-down line, and we got to figure out exactly who's going to be that stand-up guy. But we believe it would be Charlie, Phillip Lee, Ken Talley.
You talked about kind of battles throughout camp. Is there a specific battle that maybe has your eyes or fans at home should kind of be ready for to hear about a lot this fall?
Corner. I think we're pretty talented. We're big. And we're talented. We can run. Corner has a lot of depth there. So we, that would be one of those positions. Who's going to be our top 6 wide receivers? What are we going to do with Marion Harris? We're obviously going to give him an opportunity to start for us. If he doesn't, where are we going to play him? And he's got ample opportunity to start. I'm not saying that, but he's very vital to us because he can play several positions. Let's look at him. 282 pounds a year ago, 313 now. Ben, correct me, but 311, 313 now. You got a whole different cat. You got a whole different guy. And so he's obviously going to run out there on the depth chart with the ones. It's his job to keep. But those guys would be running back. We feel like we have several there. Where's A.J. Green going to be in that? Where's he going? Where will Cam Settles? Is there going to be a role for Cam Settles? We're certainly going to run K.J. Jackson at times with the ones, the full ones, and let him get in there and see what he can do. I think it helped us doing it that way last year with Malachi, where he went into when he went into the Tennessee game. Not only did he believe he could do it, everybody around him on both sides of the ball believe he could. So we have some things there. And then I think finding a 4th linebacker is big, even though I think Waylon is setting in good position to do that. And then the last one, I think the biggest thing is where are we going to play these safeties? I feel like we have 5 to 6 that are ready to play. Who's going to run out there with the ones, where they're going to run out there with, and who can play boundary safety, strong safety, who can play hog, because we learned our lesson in COVID about that when, some guys would find out on Friday morning and we had to be ready to go play. And so we learned that, and I think those, to answer your question, those would be a few of those battles.
One of the guys that you didn't mention when talking about the hog, Julian Neal, do you see him exclusively as a boundary cornerback? And if so, what makes him maybe better suited for that position?
I see him as a corner. See him as a corner. When Julian came up in the portal, he was really a no-brainer in that the way he played his position at corner, but he's big, and so now he could move, and depending on how that all works out, could move to a hog position because he's got great size and speed and can tackle. So that would be something. Here's the thing. You got to find out who's going to play corner first. That's the bottom line. And then because they're big, who can we move to another position? He would probably be in that category as well, along with Jordan Young. Jordan Young played corner. He's played hog. He's played safety. He'd be another guy that could move around. We've got to find out exactly the best position for our team for him.
Feels like you guys are just like you have some more versatile players maybe than you did last year, and how big is that into the added depth that you feel? And was that a focus of your this off season when targeting guys on the portal and everything?
Well, I think it sure makes you feel better going into camp. It makes you feel better. We have. You're not going, oh man, if so and so gets a hurt toe, we're dead in the water. That we don't feel that way at any position, and so it makes you feel a lot better. I think our guys did a good job of bringing in the right character guys and the right size. I think we put a lot of emphasis on size, bringing in guys that can run, but size. When I first got here, we couldn't necessarily get the size and speed guys across the board. We went for speed. We didn't care, really how big they were. We were trying to get fast. And now we feel like we can get both, and I think that's why we did it. I feel really good about the special teams, too, really good about the special teams, which the depth chart will tell you we've got faster and bigger guys to help us on that, along with our kickers and punters. So, yeah, I think we're excited about the depth and the competition, and as you well know, that'll make you a better team.
Sticking with size, I think both of those safeties you mentioned, Mitchell is 222 and Worth's about 225. That's some big old world safeties.
They're big, and they look, they don't look like me. They look good, and can run, but they'll hit you now. And we got a little bit of Miguel last year, really played really good in the bowl game, but he played some ball before at Florida, but we kind of, Larry will be so much different this year because he is bigger, he's faster and all that, but also we know where to play him. A year ago, if you remember, Trey, we played him inside a linebacker, to start out because he's big and can run. He ran 47-something in the 400 meters in high school. Very, very talented guy that will hit you. So, I always thought if you had really good linebackers that could run, which we do, and you had put fear in the offense with your big safeties, you could be pretty good on defense, and I feel real comfortable that that's what we have.
See Jordan in the spring, but you mentioned plan to start him out at nickel. Was that always the thought process with him?
Yes, exactly. That was it. With him, he also wanted to play corner. I think when he first came in, he's gotten bigger. He had the surgeries on the shoulders, but he's gotten bigger. I really like him. He's done a really nice job of getting his strength back. But for us, it was always the nickel. For him, and he can play corner as well. So that was a plus. For us, it was always the nickel, him a little bit more corner as well.
Cam told us in Atlanta that
You look good, man.
Appreciate that.
You do. You look good.
Getting better. Cam told us in Atlanta that he had tweaked the elbow, sometime earlier in his career. I'm wondering, could he have more explosion this year? And what's kind of Cam's top end?
I think one of the things he was concerned about this summer, which needs to take a back seat for obviously his father passing away, it's him talking, not me. It was him being in the right shape because he knows this is his senior year. He obviously wants to represent the team himself and his daddy. But he seems to be in really good shape to me. I think he's been playing with a bum elbow for at least 10 games. I think you'll see a better player. He's always been athletic, always been strong, but I'll let Ben address that part of it. But he has full clearance, and so therefore we think that we're going to get the best season out of him. And I have no doubt that we will get his best season.
In Atlanta, you made the comment to the local reporters that you were excited about the season. You could be at the lake, but you have that opportunity, but you're not. And I'm wondering, between that and your hip and just feeling better, how rejuvenated you feel personally going into this season?
Yeah, it's frustrating, I mean, it's not similar, but it's frustrating when you can't do what you want to do. I mean, it's frustrating. And guys, to be honest with you, coaching, getting off a cart, it's not the same as being right next to them. It's just not. And I feel good. I feel good about. I wouldn't feel as good if I didn't feel as good about the team, but I feel really good because I feel good about the team. I'm not talking about just the player. I mean, the guy out there playing. I like this team now. I like how they like each other and compete against each other. But I don't want to go to the lake. I mean, I've got plenty of time. Hunter gives me time off. Spring break, get a week or two off in the summer. I got plenty of time to get down to the lake. I'm going to be the head coach right here and win a bunch of games.
Hey, Sam. Trey there in the back with the Pig Trail Nation, new to the program here. Happy to be here. Hope you take it easy on me, too.
What's that?
I hope you take it easy on me as well.
Oh, man, I'm a pretty easygoing guy most of the time.
Given what roster turnover has turned into now in college football, and as long as you've been doing this, does that make you look differently at what chemistry or team continuity is, and maybe with this group specifically? What do you feel like you have?
Makes you look at the families more. Now, we have a very short window, but you have to know you have to know their parents. I think we've done a good job of identifying guys through identifying their parents. I think that makes a big difference you know, for instance, Quentin Green called me the day before the portal opened this spring and said, my kid's not going anywhere. I just want you to know that. Man, whew, thank you, Lord, you know. But at the same time, he could have called and said, hey, my son needs X number of millions of dollars or he's leaving. One of them right, one of them wrong. I don't know. That didn't happen. I didn't have to talk about it. So in the portal world, you're looking for people that want to be hogs, want to stay hogs, want to give us opportunity to keep them as hogs. And a lot of times that comes from either a understanding agent or parents or both, along with the young man. Cam Ball could have went for a whole bunch of money. He didn't. Why? He loves the Hogs, has for a long time. So you have to look at all those different things. And then if you have people go in the portal, you can't sit around and go, oh, my Lord, you got to go, okay, I got an opportunity to try to better the football team. And it doesn't, I'm not saying it doesn't have to necessarily be in that position. It's, I have a scholarship here, I have money available here, let's go try to make our football team a better football team. So you can either look at it, oh man, we lost somebody, or you look at it the other way. Let's go try to help our football team, and that's what we chose to do.
Coach, I want to ask you about a couple of heavyweights. Shaq is down 18 pounds to 344.
He looks good, man.
Yeah, how's he moving? And then Ian is, sometimes these aren't always accurate, I guess, but he's listed at 388. He's at 387. Is that just the weight he's going to carry?
Ben, is that where he's at right now?
He's a little lower.
A little lower.
384.
384. Ian, obviously we would like for, hell, I'd like to lose some weight too, you know, but Ian, our biggest concern with him is, can he play 4, 5, 6 plays in a row, and can he play it at a high level? We've seen that he can. You know, in the summer program, he's not a guy that quits. You know, he makes all his times. You don't even think about him anymore now. Do I think he'd be a little bit better player longevity-wise, quickness-wise, if he lost a few more pounds? Yes, and he knows that. So, but he's gotten to the point now to where he can make all his times and he can do whatever we ask him to do, and I think he can play those consecutive plays. And in the spring, he showed that he could rush the passer pretty good. So I think he's made some strides, even though it may not look like that on a weight scale. The other one's Shaq. I think Shaq is maturing as well. He looks great, and he's a small guy now at 340 something. He's just a little bitty guy right now, so he looks good. He's happy, and there'll be a great competition there.
And I had you, this might not be accurate either, but I had you at 84 scholarships, and I was curious if you'd awarded.
You were right.
Okay.
You're 100% right, and now we can do a little bit more with a scholarship. You know, we don't have to just give it to one guy, and so we're we're in line to help some other guys out with that scholarship and help them with some of their tuition and things like that. You're right. We're 84.
Sorry about that. I thought you were finished.
Oh, you know me.
Russell, talk about him a little bit. I mean, do you feel like last year, you know, he had, like Tennessee and Mississippi State, he had a big impact. Do you feel like he can do that? I know the injury championed some, but do you feel like he can do that kind of on a consistent role this year?
Yes. He just, you know, he's got to stay healthy, but absolutely he can do it, and I believe will do it. He's had, you know, a great summer. He's in shape. You know, there's power in being in shape now. If you're not very powerful. If you are, your mind, your body tells you powerful being in shape. And that's another reason I'm sitting here excited about the team, because Ben and his staff and our kids got themselves where they need to be at this point in time. But, yeah, if Braylon can stay healthy and fight through the nicks and the this and the that, I believe he can do that on a regular basis.
It's a little bit off topic here, but I know with the Darren McFadden jersey patch announced
Yeah.
this week, there's some people who think the number 5 should just be retired altogether. But I'm curious, as a coach, when you're recruiting players or trying to get guys out of the portal, like how important are jersey numbers, and like does that factor in at all to like the decision on what to do?
Well, I say this. I think Darren can answer the question better than me. The number one jersey that we get asked for is 5. And there's a number one reason why they want to wear 5. And it's because the greatest, one of the greatest, however you want to look at it, player in the history of Arkansas wore 5. Now, if you look at it and you go, you're in the Hall of Honor, you know what I mean? You've got your jersey up there, but yet somebody's got your patch on there and the number is still out there. I think that would be really cool. You'd have to ask him, but I think that would be really cool. Here's what I do know, that when we were able to visit with him, Monsieur Hunter, Yurchek and myself, when we were able to visit with him, it hit him. And that's what you want, you know. It hit him. For whatever reason, he'll have to tell you. But it hit him, which then hit us, you know. But I think that was a great idea, well earned, and I think that you'll have to talk to him, but I think he liked it, that his number's still out there, but yet his jersey is somewhere else. So I think it's really cool, to be honest with you.
Coach, appreciate it.
Go Hogs.